Yeah.
All right, welcome to the Always Cheating podcast. For those of you who listened to the main feed pod earlier this week, you know we had a big announcement, and Josh and I could not resist making more hay because we think this announcement is so great. Of course, Fest NYC is coming to the States. It is the America's inaugural fantasy football fest, which is a hugely successful UK event. It's coming stateside for the first time. September 10th. This is the date that you need to remember, happening in Brooklyn, New York. We're sponsored by FPL Game Week, our great friends over there. This event is going to be epic. It's going to be a rooftop in New York, a cash bar, pitches inside the venue filled with hundreds of FPL fanatics, all watching the matches live. We're going to get into all the details in a minute, but just so you know, tickets are on sale, and we have a capacity that, we can't just have people spilling out the doors, Josh. We have a capacity, limited availability. Get your tickets as quickly as you can. Go to fest-nyc.com for more information. Josh, I can tell you are eager to let the world know about Fest NYC.
I would never miss an opportunity to talk over you when I can. I will say rooftop does make it sound like we're holding this like on the roof of the brownstone I live in Brooklyn. It is like the venue is like this kind of like, it's almost like a complex, and they have this sort of indoor space where there's a bar and there's TVs, and sort of across the hall from that is an indoor soccer pitch, and then kind of out the other door there's a rooftop deck that we have access to, and from there it's really beautiful views of the Manhattan skyline. And I think
painting like a Van Gogh here, Josh, for FPL managers.
Talking
I love
with
this.
my hands and everything.
And it's not just the venue that is going to be the star. It is also going to be our superstar guests who are flying in from the UK. So, Josh, we've got a couple of them on the Zoom right now. And yes, if you're listening on our podcast feed, pop over to YouTube and search the Always Cheating podcast, and you can see this content actually happening via video. So, Josh, who do we have with us today?
Yeah, we have Ed Gray, creator of Fantasy Football Fest. I just remember this was video, so Ed, you can like wave, right? I guess your name pops up on there. And we have Mark Sutherns, Fest stakeholder and founder of Fantasy Football. I like stakeholder. That's like makes it sound like you're basically just coming in for this New York event, and then
it's very business-like. That is, yeah.
You've got the house and the farm all riding on this one event, right, Mark?
Absolutely. I'd back this event to the hilt, so that's all good.
And one thing that I think that's been really impressive about Ed, we said this briefly on the podcast, but I think Brandon and I are both. There's like a lot of, anytime you're in the niche space, which I think is kind of where you are in the fantasy sports world, you find a lot of hustlers in there, a lot of people who are sort of, trying to break out, break in. And I don't know, Brandon and I were just incredibly impressed with Ed, basically from like the very first time we talked to you. And so it was exciting to do this because, it's like, a lot of people kick around the idea of doing a meetup or something like, oh, it'd be fun to get together with some people. We should do that sometime, and you basically talk about it for 3.5 years. And Ed was like, we should do this. Let's do it in 2 months. Let's make it happen. And I think we were kind of inspired enough that basically after that first call, we started looking for venues. 3 days later, we had another call and put it together. And so, I think it's really exciting. I mean, to have this thing going, in like effectively at the start of the new season, right? I think it'll be before there are any international breaks, because it's this kind of weird kickoff where there's no first break. So, Ed, do you want to talk about why you decided to bring the game, or bring the fest over from the UK, like what the inspiration was?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so Fest started from I joined FPL Twitter in lockdown, like a lot of people did. Had lots of more spare time with my job because obviously lockdown and couldn't travel in the UK because of COVID. And I joined FPL Twitter. I'd always loved football, always played FPL, but I'd never really gone through a whole season. I always gave up halfway because I forgot a deadline or something, like a lot of people. So Twitter was the thing that made me really go through a season. And I thought, I really want to go to the meetup. There must be a meetup. There's 8 million people playing this game, or something at the time, maybe 7 million. 7 million people playing this game. There must be some sort of official big meetup. And I found out there wasn't one. And I thought, which is, as you've learned about me, getting to know me, this is what I do. I thought I'll do it. So I sent out a tweet that that gained a lot of traction and got retweeted by a lot of the big FPL accounts. And I had many people contact me saying, can I be involved? One of whom was Mark. And even in my very small time in the FPL community, I knew that Mark Sutherns was a big name. And I thought, okay, well, I'll chat to him. And I think, is this right, Mark? I think I had a Zoom with you. And at the end of that, we thought, yeah, we're going to do something. Let's think about one more person. Is that right? Is that what happened?
So I think you had a Zoom with Gianni first, didn't you? And then with a few people, and then a phone call with me. I was putting my son to bed at the time, and I was trying to size you up, thinking, is this guy for real? He's trying to launch an events company.
That's what I was saying exactly.
During COVID, is this going to work during COVID? And yeah, but you convinced me in a phone call, and you got stuff done. Like I kind of thought, oh, we'll see. That was an encouraging call, but we'll see if this felon means business. And you definitely did. You know, all credit to you, just like Josh says. You got things done really quick, and that impressed me.
Yeah.
And Mark, you mentioned your third partner there, Gianni Buttice.
Who got there in the end?
Who knows? We'll just say whatever. He's not here. It's fine.
Yeah. But he is. You'd all know him from the FPL TV show. He's a great Premier League pundit, and he is also going to be traveling over for Fest NYC and putting on a great quiz for us during halftime of one of the kickoffs. So it's Mark, it's Ed, it's Gianni. You also come with the full weight and backing of Fantasy Football Scout, Fantasy Football Hub, Fantasy Fix. These are all brands that FPL managers know and love. So yeah, further to the point, like this is the real deal. This is the real event. And the fact that you guys came to us to bring this to America, I now feel like I'm putting out the call. Josh and I are putting out the call to all of US FPL managers. Come to Fest NYC and show these UK guys what Premier League mornings stateside are all about, because they are, even though they start at 7:30 in the morning, they are fun.
I am so looking forward to that. So the morning kickoffs. I can't get my head around what it's going to be like. I just can't wait.
I've been on holiday to Florida, maybe, I think 3 times. The best part of the holiday, I mean, my wife would say the best part is spending time together, having a lovely rant. The best time is waking up early and putting the TV on, and all the games that we don't get the 3 p.m. games in the UK because of a historic sort of thing. They're not allowed to be shown. All of the games you get on Saturdays. So we want to experience that. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And surrounded by FBL managers as well. Watching the matches live.
Yeah. So, Mark, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how you interact with FPL managers, because you have been in this game for eons. Like in our marketing materials, right? We refer to you as the godfather.
That was, and just to be very clear, that was Mark's request. We didn't want to do that.
No.
I said, Mark, that's just not accurate. And he said, he then tried to punch me, and I dodged it. And he said, it must be Godfather.
It must be. It can't be anything else.
Josh, whenever we have Mark up on the stage at the event, we have to play the Godfather theme.
Why did I object to it?
So, right, Mark, we've said this a few times on Always Cheating. You are genuinely the inspiration for Always Cheating existing as a podcast, because Josh and I, when we were getting into FPL seriously, you were doing the Scoutcast on Fantasy Football Scout with Granville, and we should shout out Granville, by the way.
We should get Granville over next, definitely.
Yeah, Brandon has kind of a Granvillian quality too, where he's in a much better mood when he's doing well. And then
it is. I was saying to you, Mark, like Josh and I, it's like whenever he's up, I'm down, and vice versa. And I feel like you and Granville always had that similar energy. So you've since spun off of the Scout. People know you from FPL Black Box, and now your involvement with the Fest. So how did you come to think, all right, Ed's got a great idea here? And coupled with that, like are you at the point where you're like walking down the street and FPL managers in your hometown can spot you? I mean, you must have so many people come up to you, pull out their phone and say, have a look at my team. What should I do?
Oh, God.
It's not that bad. Well, first of all, I thought of the idea for Fest first years and years ago. So whatever Ed says, because he made that tweet, that idea was in my head a long time ago. Yeah. So when I was working on Scout, myself and Chris, who co-owned it with me then, who now owns it, he was in events. He's got another business. He was in an event. And I said, oh, look, we've got to do a fantasy football event at some point. Use your knowledge and the community that's out there. And we never got round to it. We never had the bandwidth. And then I obviously stepped away from Scout a few years back and went back to my day job, and FBL became a hobby again. And I kind of at that point, I was getting like, oh, the entrepreneurial spirit kind of came knocking again. I was like, well, I'm not doing Scout anymore.
Yeah.
And this playing FBL as a hobby, that's okay. But I want to do a bit more than that, which is when I started Black Box. And that wasn't enough either. And then Ed made the tweet and I was like, you know what? I wanted to do that years ago. I wonder if this guy means business. And as we discussed just now, he definitely did. So I got in touch and said, look, you know, I don't want to make any money out of this. I just want to be involved because I think it'd be a fun thing to do. Always did years ago. And I'm willing to get behind it and show my support. And Ed was happy to have me on board. And that's it. That's how it started, really.
It's quite amazing. I would just say, like just to continue that story from that point, we then managed to somehow get in lockdown, Scout, Hub and Fix to invest in the company when we hadn't done anything. I don't know how that happened. I'm not taking credit for that. I think what a bunch of idiots, right? Yeah. But they invested.
We'll see, Ed.
Yeah, exactly. We invested and we had the first event and it was so good. Like the main issue we had was finding a venue in London because it's all TV licensing. It's right. I know it's a bit simpler over in the US, but in the UK, you've got to have
we have with NFL, a similar product.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So it's like you've got to pay thousands of pounds to have a Sky or a BT license or whatever. Didn't have it. We went ahead anyway because we thought there's one game on that opening Premier League day. And we thought we'll just watch it on our phones because of the Wi-Fi. Everyone can individually watch it if they want. And we'll have Mark Sutherns giving like updates over the mic and that sort of thing. And it was a massive success and it's been great fun. And I'd just like to say, like, I think Mark and Gianni know this, but I can't believe we managed to stumble across us three who all get on. Like, what are the chances of that? We could have picked anyone. And me and Gianni are like best mates. And like Mark,
I've noticed in the
Mark
WhatsApp.
And I hate Mark. I can't no.
It's crazy. It is crazy. We are very different, all of us, but we do get on very well. Yeah,
we get on really well, and we form a really good team. Like I was just saying to Gianni earlier today, because I'm trying to buy a new laptop, right? Because I've got to send my laptop back. Fest have to pay for this new laptop, and Gianni's the sort of guy who will walk up and down a street for about 3 hours trying to find the best deal, the best meal deal, or something, to save £3. And I'm the sort of guy who'll just go, let's just do it. By the way, that noise,
what was that, Ed?
If you heard it on my mic, we just sold 2 more tickets. So there you go. We're selling tickets live here.
That's fantastic, Ed. That's great. Yeah. Well, since we're selling tickets, I think we should talk in a little bit more detail about what people can expect if they attend Fest NYC, which again is happening September 10th. We're kicking it off with the 7:30 a.m. kickoff. Doors are probably going to open around 7:15, so you can roll in a little early and find the best view for Fulham v Chelsea. We're all going to have Mitrovic captain for this match,
it's
right?
It's a fun opening match.
It's a cracker.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing day because we start off with a London derby with Fulham v Chelsea, and then we close out with Man City Spurs, which is, early predictions for that one.
We're all going to have a stake in that one, aren't we?
Yeah,
surely. Big
I'm gonna say it's gonna be an enthralling 1-1.
No goals, got to be goals.
Beautiful.
Look at last time.
But the thing is Conte. Spurs have always done well against City in the recent years, haven't they? And I just think Conte will pull off a masterclass or something to be 1-1. Everyone will expect City to win 3.
This is why I don't even have a draft yet of my. I have like the draft. I have the draft that I made for my ID. That's the only thing that I still have because it's too stressful. Like I can't even game week 1. I'm stressed. Like it's who is going to play for Man City? It's like totally unclear to me. Like how all the spots are going to.
Is it going to get any clearer, Josh? Though, even before the kickoff,
probably not. That's so true. We could absolutely go into game week 1 not knowing if Grealish or Foden is going to start on the left wing, right? Like totally.
And is Mahrez suddenly an option because all these players have left? Like
I'm told no. I'm told.
What do you mean you're told no? What, you got Pep on WhatsApp, have you?
My OTKs don't go that far. I love it, but no, I wouldn't trust it if I did, to be honest. But
same.
He'd lie to you. Yeah.
So we've got the matches to boot, and I like that the middle kickoff, the afternoon kickoff, as you'd call it in the UK. We'll be able to watch these matches because it's the States, and they're all these like kind of
amazing,
squishy matches where fantasy stakes will be relatively low, apart from Liverpool playing a home match, so against Wolves. So hopefully we'll all be delighting in whatever
Playing football,
solid
having
stuff.
drinks, watching the TV. It's going to be
I
amazing.
tell you what, I'm a bit worried because I might not. I'm thinking of going without Salah, and this is a
Okay.
rooftop. Really, how many stories up are we? So if I have to kind of
Straight into the East River, Mark will go. Yeah. So of course we'll be watching the matches. We'll be playing football on the indoor pitches that the venue provides. We're also going to be doing a live podcast, Josh, and this is a big deal for us because we've never recorded in front of a studio audience. So we're expecting it to be kind of raucous, a lot of fun. I don't know what to expect.
Oh, that's true. I mean, and I somehow I can't hold my liquor anymore, so I'm gonna have to be super careful all day. No more than 7. That's like a hard and fast rule for me. I'm really excited about the live. I think the way we're gonna work it out is we're gonna do two separate recordings. One that's kind of like a chat with Mark, one that's a live podcast, and then Gianni is going to do a quiz, and I think that's going to be sort of the halftime of what we call the 10 a.m.s, what would be the 3 p.m.s in the UK. And then Ed, I think you're doing something as well, right? I think you mentioned that you might be doing some
Oh no!
I don't know.
A dance of some kind?
What's
An
he doing?
interpretive dance?
You know he does stand-up comedy in the UK.
Yeah. Look. At the Fest in the UK, I got convinced to do stand-up comedy, which it went okay. I think
It was very good, actually.
How's your Borat impression these days?
No, I'm not. But in the US, there's been many a great comic try to break the US. It doesn't work. There's a translation sort of error that goes on. And the thing I think I put on the flyer I might do is because the pictures are there. I think rather than trying to organize a game in the time we have, I don't think that will work. Yeah, I think I'll run some challenges, that's a cool
idea. That's what you meant by challenges. Okay, I wasn't sure if you meant like quiz type challenges or. Okay.
No, I think I'll run the football pitch side of things, and I might hang up. Do you know how David Beckham learned to take free kicks? He put a tire in the top corner and he'd try and curl it into the tire. Maybe some hula hoops.
You don't fancy yourself at football, don't you, Eddie? This is a common theme, Brandon and Josh. He really does fancy himself.
You haven't seen me play yet. I'm an absolute wizard.
I know. I was very jealous. I mean, honestly, this is like one of the underlying themes of this whole thing was my deep jealousy of game week 39, my deep jealousy of the first the one you guys are having in next month is the third meetup. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just, I'm a jealous person, so for me to have this event in the US, it's just exciting because I mean, honestly, like it just seems like people have been responding to it too. And I think, and I'll give credit to Nima, who is a friend of, I think, everyone on this call, and FPL Black Wolf, because they've been doing a lot of organizing of US fans and this kind of FPL, excuse me, FPL, I'm getting emotional talking about it.
Just let it go, Josh.
Yeah. This FPL USA hashtag, which has really been a nice, like, it's so funny because I work in marketing, and sort of when people talk about hashtags, it's like, I don't know, I don't really know if those things work or not, but it feels like it has really sort of unified people. And a lot of people have sort of come out of the woodwork who are just kind of anonymous American listeners, and a lot of them have said they're coming to the event, which I'm really
Just before this call, me and Gianni from Fest had a call with Nima because Meets and Fest we dovetail quite nicely actually, and we talked about all sorts of things, but one of the things was he was saying he will try and utilize the guys who were already involved in Meets over here to come to this event because we work well together, and that's lovely, isn't it? That's what the main sort of mantra of Fest that I sold to all these people, Mark when he wanted to join, Gianni, Hub, Fix, Scout, all of this stuff was the little phrase was unite the community, because we can be partisan, we can fall apart so easily. Let's try and bring it together, and Meets and Fest work well together, and that's another way we're bringing it together, so it's good.
And
I appreciate that, Ed. I'll talk over you this time, Josh.
Fine. Go ahead.
Everybody that we meet who comes through New York, whether they're from another country or just passing through as Americans and want to meet up and watch a Premier League game together, we've never met an angry, mean FPL manager. Some people run into issues, on social media, which is what happens out there. But our experience meeting FPL managers out in the world is the best thing. And it's like you finding somebody who speaks the same language as you when you've been stuck in a town where nobody else speaks that language. So I think that particularly here in America and New York, where the Premier League is growing wildly, but it's nowhere near as pervasive as it is in the rest of the world. There are probably a lot of people around here, I hope, that will come to Fest NYC and discover, like, hey, we can be friends. I can I can talk FPL with some other people. I'm not alone anymore. Josh, you know what it's like to be alone.
Can I just say something on that?
Yeah.
Sorry, Josh. Just to comment. One of the most satisfying things about the first fest we ran was there was a lot of people who thought, I've got no one to go with. And they DM'd us and we reassured them it was going to be okay. And we were there to meet them when they came. So if you're thinking, I'm on my own, I love FPL, I'd love to go to this, but my social anxiety is through the roof. Like there'll be way more people than admit that's true for. Just come.
That's a very good point, because Brendan and I have met a lot of people over the years, listeners, and there's a bar near my apartment called the Black Horse. Brendan used to live near there back in the day as well, and people would often say, like, I just can't believe I'm meeting these two guys from Brooklyn like at 7 a.m. And then we always have a good time. And so I think that you're right. I think it'll be interesting to watch, and this is what I was going to say before, watch like the different ways that people watch matches, because I do think that, Mark, you and I have a kind of similar like philosophical approach, and I mean you sort of, I feel like you like, I don't know if it was a controversial tweet or not, but you were talking last week about your sort of, one of the reasons I have not made a team yet is because like there's like this kind of template feeling, and like I really want my team to, I want my whatever team I have, even if it ends up being kind of template, I want it to be like the team that I like have like organically chosen,
You own it. You own it.
Like I own it. Yeah, exactly. And so and I feel like I have to have some stuff that's just for me in my team.
There is this great Mad Men quote I love from Pete Campbell where he's talking about, I'm smart, I have ideas. I came up with the idea for direct mail. It turns out direct mail already existed. Somebody already thought of it, but I arrived at that independently. And that's exactly what you're talking about with your fantasy team. I mean, okay, so Mark, you're in the same boat where you're just sort of like not prepared to dive into the drafting yet.
I think you're right. I don't want to feel like the team I end up with game week 1 has been influenced in any way by anyone else, right? I want it to be mine, and inevitably we're going to have a lot of the same players, right? Because but that's because they're the best players. So I've like Trent Alexander-Arnold. There's no way I'm not having him, and that's not because of everyone else owning him, but because I think he's a player I've got to have, right? Exactly. But that might not be the case with others. It might not be the case with Haaland or even Salah, right? So yeah, I'm wary of reading stuff because I am tinkering with teams, sadly, Josh. I am.
That's okay. Yeah,
I've got to confess, I wish I was stronger, but I can't help but, you know what I mean? I have like a gen of a thought and I think, oh, let me have a look what that team looks like with that. And then I do that one. And then I'm doing it every couple of hours, unfortunately. It's an affliction, isn't it? But I think that, like you, I think our teams, when we do meet up, will be, you know, feel like unique teams to us. They'll be influenced by no one other than their own thoughts, I think. Yeah.
By game week 7, is it? Game week 7 is when we're having our
game
event,
week 7,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll probably have wildcarded by then.
I was going to say,
very good chance of that. It could be my wildcard team that very week.
Should we have something at the door, guys, where it's like a little sticker if you have or haven't wildcarded yet? As you come into the door, you just put a little sticker on your badge.
Definitely have name badges.
That's a good idea.
Definitely have name badges.
And that is actually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ed. Sorry.
It's all right. Go. No, you go, Josh.
I was going to say one thing that FPL Game Week said that they would do is we're going to give them, or we'll ask everyone who goes to the event to give us their ID, and they're going to create a custom league for all the people who attend this event. So kind of all season long, you'll be able to track how everybody's doing.
That's awesome.
From the Fest League. I think that'll be kind of fun.
And live on the day, I think we're hoping to have a screen on the day where it will be updated as we go.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that'll be
It's going to be like the big board where we're tracking our progress. Speaking of tracking progress, Ed, you've got a little game show for us, and just to lead into your game show, just a reminder to everybody. Tickets for Fest NYC are now on sale. They're $30. If you're a Patreon supporter of Always Cheating, we have a 10% discount code for you. Check patreon.com/always cheating, but go to fest-nyc.com to get your tickets now. And we have got you. So Ed, where are we at after it's been less than 24 hours since tickets went on sale that we're recording this?
Yeah, it's been a good day. So here's my question. Here's my little game show. I mean, game shows are rather a grand term for what I'm going to do, but here you go. Here's a question, and you've got to vote for one of the answers. Okay. The number of tickets we've sold is equal to either A, the years that Raheem Sterling played for Man City.
It's like 6. Okay.
You can think what you think.
Mm-hmm.
B, the famous squad number for Thierry Henry at Arsenal.
Oh, what was that?
14, wasn't it?
Yeah, you tell
All right,
me.
we're meant to keep these items to
Or
ourselves, I think.
C, the exact number of days until the season starts.
Wow. Well,
A, B, or C. Now, I mean, it's very easy to just go for the one you think's the most, and then we all look like idiots if it's not. But what
That's what I was gonna say. It's gonna be very disappointing if it's not C. So I'm gonna go with C.
All right, I'll stick my neck out and say B, Thierry Henry, just so we can have not all the same answer. And I think I'm right.
Okay. Well, the answer is, drum roll, is it's C. Yeah, it's good. So it's 26. We've sold 26 tickets.
Great.
And actually, the fact of the matter is that that's out of date now, because while we've been recording this, we've sold 2 more. So it's actually 28 now.
Awesome.
So 28 tickets sold. That's a great first day. There'll be loads of people who know they're going to buy and just haven't.
That's in the first like 8 hours since.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm panicking now because there's only 26 days to go before the season starts. I hadn't realized that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of tinkering.
What are you more nervous
Mark?
about, Mark, selling these tickets or setting your team? It's sort
Definitely
of like
setting my team.
And that's as well. That's for those who are listening in the UK who obviously love this idea. That's 26 days as well to our fest in London. Tickets are still available. Loads. Those who've been know. Those who haven't don't. But come along. That's going to be amazing as well. So do buy them.
What's the website for the UK event, Ed?
Yeah. So the sort of the UK event is ff-fest.com. Yeah. And then the New York one is, as you said, fest-nyc.com.
We really struggled with the dash, and I made it complicated because I was like, oh yeah, people say. What hyphen. You don't say dash? Yeah, we don't say hyphen over here. We say dash usually.
I think even here, I think it was just me being ridiculous. Really, I think most people would say dash. We understand what dash means in the UK. Don't worry. Yeah.
So I'll just say earnestly about the ticket price. The fact that you have to get a ticket. The idea here is that we want this to be as awesome an event as possible. As Josh and I are thinking about how we want it to play out, we are looking at what you guys are doing in London for the fest that you've already put on, which have looked amazing, where there's food and beverage and like live programming, kicking soccer balls around, whatever we can do. So the cost of the ticket is hopefully just to offset the work that's going into it and what you're going to get out of it when you go to the event. And you're going to walk away with some piece of Always Cheating Fest NYC exclusive merch yet to be determined. Josh and I are kind of brainstorming on that, but we're going to have you walk away with something, a piece of merch included in your ticket price. And Ed, you're already creating other bits of merch. Say you can't make it to NYC, but you want a piece of history. I think at fest-nyc.com, right. You've got a little store there.
So for everyone who's sorry, go ahead, Ed. Sorry. No, go ahead. No, you go ahead this time, please.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I was just going to say, I had great fun sorting all that merch. And I'll be honest, the first customer we had for the merch was me, because I bought a poster and I bought a t-shirt because I love the fantasy football. Our problem is the fantasy football USA flipping logo is way better than the UK one, I think. So I need to work on the UK one. But I've ordered myself a t-shirt that's going to be limited edition for sure, and also a poster. But I mean, if you can't come, do buy something. I mean, we don't make lots on each thing. It's just like a fulfillment service that does it for us. It's just a bit of fun, really. So if you think you'd like it, then just I
have a number of FPL mugs and cups in my home, and they bring me great satisfaction, I have to say. And much like Mark was saying earlier, nobody knows what FPL even means in the United States outside of the people at this event. So if you're sort of by people who don't know what FPL even stands for, then this is a great place to go and find some like-minded fantasy nerds. I was gonna say for everyone who's sat through our deck pitch for this event. I thought we could end with a piece of actual fantasy content. It came from yesterday's top 10 unanswered questions podcast that Brad and I recorded. And a question for you, I guess specifically Mark, just because I'm curious what how much stock you put in this when you're doing your tinkering right now, is how much weight do you put on preseason friendlies?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Not yet. I think tradition is that it's the last couple of friendlies that really start to show the hand, isn't it? I think at this stage it the whole cliche of it's just a fitness exercise at this stage is rolled out for the first 2 or 3 games. Most clubs have about 5 or 6 friendlies nowadays, don't they? So I think there's always a couple of prestige ones at the end for most teams. So I put certain amount of stock into the last 2, not so much the form, but certainly the lineups. I think you can start to eke out how the managers are thinking in terms of formations and first choice personnel over the last couple of friendlies. So I would absolutely recommend keeping an eye on stuff. You probably give yourself another couple of weeks off, but in the final 2 weeks, you kind of need to be tuned in, don't you? And you need to be knowing, this guy's playing, this guy isn't. And you can't take things for granted. You can't just take those team sheets and translate that to game week 1, but it's probably around 85% accurate as to what's going to happen. So that's a head start. Why wouldn't you take that?
That's true. Except for the Charity Shield, which I feel like is the most deceptive of all matches for some reason. In fact, season after season, I'm tempted, but somebody goes off in the Charity Shield, and then suddenly, like, we all have David Silva in our game week 1 team or something like that. So that's the most dangerous one. Are you? Do you guys ever watch any preseason? Like, Ed, have you ever been to a preseason friendly in person? I don't really.
I went years ago to Newcastle played Juventus at home.
How did you tell the teams apart?
I think
one was winning and it wasn't Newcastle, I imagine.
I think Newcastle Juventus played in pink, and I think it was about 2000. It must have been about 2008 because it was Alan Smith's first game, or 2007 maybe. Alan Smith's first game, and he scored a header. Right, so Alan Smith from Man United, real good player, signed him. He then didn't score a goal for us for the rest of his time at Newcastle. And he moved to defensive mid, and it was just, okay, right, there you go. So much promise. We thought he was going to do so well, and then nothing.
I've taken to watching preseason games on YouTube. That's how bad it gets. I watched Palace Millwall the other night. Why did I watch that? It was 5-4. It was a bit of a thriller, but I mean that's and there's me saying don't take any notice of the first few friendlies, and I've been watching some already. So
there are certain like Darwin Nunez. Like, I have never seen. I maybe I shouldn't admit this, but I really have no knowledge of Darwin Nunez, and I feel like that's like the new players. I think are the ones where it can be really valuable, even just to watch. Like the 13-minute highlight package that the club puts together on YouTube. Just to get a little sense of, just how they fit, like how comfortable they look too.
Yeah. When you support Forest, that's going to be a lot of new players. That's the trouble. So.
Who is their forward going to be? I'm sort of confused by this. I don't know if I'm opening up like a giant box.
It'll be Awani. Awani will play up front with Brennan just behind on the right, leading to the right hand side. And we'll play with a number 10 who will play down the middle. So our forwards tend to kind of split off and play down the channels all the time. They don't really play central. It's the number 10 who comes central. So it's it'd be interesting to see how it works in the Premier League if we do that. But in the Championship, that's what we did. Kind of split the centre backs and then leave the space for the 10. So we haven't got a number 10 yet. So it's all going to depend on that.
I read that. I don't know if it was an interview or an article that you did about Forest, and you were like, the 3 of the 4 main creators were loanees last year, or something like that. I felt like a bunch of the people up front who delivered for you were on loan.
Yeah,
so.
We'll be all right though.
Can I just say one thing? Seeing as I'm on bucket list is ticked off and I'm on the Always Cheating podcast, can I just say one thing?
Yes.
One thing, which is I'm a Newcastle fan. If any of you guys are thinking of Newcastle, the one player, if you're going to get one, you've got to have Trippier in your team.
I knew you'd say that. Yeah.
You've got to have Trippier.
Is he going to be the Luke Shaw of this season?
Well, maybe. But first of all, Newcastle's defense is completely revamped. We were looking good at the end of last season. We've improved. Second of all, he's on all our set pieces. And I mean, he only played about 6-7 games for us last season. He scored 2 free kicks. It's unbelievable. You've got to have him in. For 5.0, I thought he was going to be 5.5.
Yeah.
For 5.0, he's a must buy.
I thought Nick Pope coming in for you, Shar and Dan Byrne looked really great as well.
Well, it will be Byrne and Botman. So Botman's a new signing from AC Milan.
There you go. I mean, I made light there of Trippier, but I agree. I think Newcastle is an underpriced, valuable team going into game week 1.
I'm starting with Callum Wilson as well.
I always call him Trippier, like he's French. I can't pronounce it. It's the easiest pronunciation in the world, but I always
struggle
call
with that. I struggle with that one too.
He's actually from Burnley, so it's the least French place I've ever been to, I think.
Yeah,
well, and Newcastle used to be called, what was it, Maison? You were a very French team when Pardew was there. Like,
yep, Cisse, Cabaye, Ben Arfa, all those French players. Bouchy. Yeah.
Pardew's a very sophisticated man, I'm sure. That's probably what it was.
Absolutely.
And I'll at least split the difference here. I will watch some Newcastle friendlies. Okay.
There you go. On YouTube.
Some clips at least. Yep.
Well done. All right. So be there September 10th, Brooklyn, New York. Get your tickets now. Fest-NYC.com. Get them while they're hot. Always Cheating Patreon supporters get 10% discount. Go to patreon.com/always cheating. Mark and Ed, how excited are you just to come to New York? Mark, you're bringing your son.
God.
Yeah.
It's crazy. In 2010, I had tickets to see Pavement in Central Park. And I couldn't go because I just launched Scout as a business. We just launched the members area. And I made the decision not to go to Central Park to see Pavement and to stay at home and launch the business. And I've always regretted that. Always regretted it. Never had a chance to go back since. Always wanted to go. I'm a big fan of Woody Allen films and all
that. Together now,
all that kind of stuff. It's going to be crazy.
Do you think you could have been Zooming with Stephen Malcolmus right now instead of Always Cheating if you had chosen a different path?
This is better. This is better than Malcolmus. Yeah, definitely. It's going to be crazy to come to New York. I've always wanted to go. That's going to be mad enough. To be sharing the experience with my son is going to be amazing as well. It's the first time he's been to America. So that's really special for us. And then to be sharing it with you guys and hopefully a couple of hundred FPL managers is going to be, it's pretty surreal. I can't wait. It's after the lockdown experience and the 2 years we've all had, it's going to be quite emotional, I think, to do that. It certainly was when we did it in the UK. And I think I'm going to experience that all over again. It was pretty overwhelming when we did it in the UK, and I think it's going to be the same, maybe even more so in the US.
Yeah, just add to that. I think I just can't believe how far we've come at Fest in such a short time. Like, it's testament to a lot of not just me, a lot of people's hard work and belief in the idea, and the fact we always thought we'd go global, and we always had you in mind to go to New York and like America, to be honest. But the fact we've done it this year, I think it just worked for us because I had a lot of time off work, so I could sort a lot of stuff out because I was in between jobs. And the fact we're doing it probably a year, probably even 2 years before we thought we would, is just huge. And it's really exciting to get it going. And, it's already a success. Like, whatever happens in my book, even if no one else bought a ticket, which I know they will, right? Yeah. If it was 30 FPL managers with us lot there, having a great time in New York, it would be a huge success for me. So there you go.
That's great. Congratulations to you guys on all your success with Fest. Josh and I couldn't be prouder to now be a part of it here stateside. So, Josh, it's not going to be your first time in New York. We live here. But like,
I was thinking I do have a nearly 6-year-old, and so now I'm thinking maybe I'll bring them. I mean, I don't know if an 8-year-old wants to play with a 6-year-old or not, but maybe at least I'll bring like a little strength in numbers. We'll have 2 kids there.
Yeah, Always Cheating has always been family friendly, and Fest will be no different. So, Ed, Mark, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you in New York in September, and we hope to see all of you listeners there as well. Fest-NYC.com. Go get it.
Cool. Thanks, guys.